Hi there, Purple Girl here. Today I'm going to be working on some pickled hot peppers. I was out in the garden a few days ago and picked a whole bunch of beautiful hot peppers. I have some Hungarian hot wax, some jalapeno, and I have some sugar rush peach. So that's what I'm going to be making my pickles out of. I'm hoping to get 3 500 ml jars. What is that? I think that's a pint. Jars made out of that. I'm using the recipe for pickled hot peppers out of the Bernardin home preserving book. Lots of great fun recipes, lots of good recipes for water bath canning, which I find sometimes can be hard to find. I find a lot of recipes are for pressure canning. I mean, that's just where I'm looking. But so I'm going to be using the recipe, but I'm using slightly different pepper varieties than what they call for, but it should still work out really nice. It's a pretty basic pickling recipe, as most pickling recipes are. So I just need the 3 types of peppers. I need a little bit of garlic, some white distilled vinegar, some water, and it's optional, but I'm going to be using some pickle crisp. I just have it in this container because I bought a big, well, they're not big jars, so I bought a good sized jar of it last year, I think it was, and I actually just took some of it out for myself and gave the rest to my mom to try because I don't make as many pickles as her, so we just shared it up that way. That way it's not sitting around. I don't know if it would go bad, but that just helps me out a little bit that way. I can share it. So the first step is going to be to chop up all these peppers. I'm going to take the tops off and take as many of the seeds out as I can, and I'm going to cut them. I think it calls for 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch slices or rings. So I'm going to be working on that. And because these are hot peppers, the jalapenos don't usually cause me issues, but the rest can get pretty hot on your hands. And so I'm going to be using gloves to do my chopping and de-seeding. And then the rest is just making the brine, packing the jars, pouring it over, and getting in the water bath. So I'll bring you in for bits of it, but hopefully it won't be too long of a video, but enough to give you a good idea of what to do. Just look down in the description down below if you're looking for information about these products. A lot of them I've either purchased on Amazon myself or I've found the links for you there, so you can check them out. Whether you buy them from there or not, doesn't matter to me. It does give me a little bit of income when people purchase from those links, but don't ever feel compelled to do that. But it just gives you an idea, so you can look into the products yourself. So I'm going to get started with just chopping up these peppers and getting them prepped. Like most banana peppers, that didn't have a lot of seeds or really any seeds in it. It's really easy to take the seeds out if you're wanting the seeds out. Sometimes giving them a little roll in your hands will kind of help loosen some of those seeds. And then you just run the knife along the membrane. Some peppers have more membrane to them than others. And then you just kind of roll it around and kind of use the tip of the knife to catch that center part. And generally it'll just flick right out. There we go. And then I just kind of hit it and the loose seeds will come out. So I actually am trying to make a smaller batch than this recipe calls for, partly because I'm the only one in my house that's going to eat these, and partly because I am having a heck of a time finding the little snap lids that are necessary for canning, I have checked the nearest 3 cities, every store I can think of that would sell them, and cannot get my hands on any. So the recipe calls for 6 cups of these. I'm hoping to get 3 out of this pile, but I'm starting, this is the largest amount of peppers that I need. So I'll start with these, cut these up, see what I get, and then go from there as to what proportions I'm going to be using for this recipe. I'm going to try and do them fairly even. With all these colors of peppers, this is going to be some really pretty jars of pickles, I think. I like to eat the pickled peppers on, I'll eat them when I'm having like pizza. I love to throw them on burgers. They're good in a salad. There's so many ways you can eat pickled peppers. If you're into that sort of thing, then certainly give this recipe a try. You can add them to salsas and dips just for some extra zing and crunch. So I'm just going to keep chopping up and measuring out all these peppers and set them to the side, and I'll bring you back when I have them chopped and I'm working on the brine. This is my first year growing the Sugar Rush peach, so it's my first year working with it, and they have such a fruity smell. Like they really do. Like I can see why I didn't find they're a hot pepper, and I've tasted them, and I didn't taste that fruitiness because I just found the heat right away in the one that I tried. But I'm gonna have to taste test them again, maybe with a little more care, because I can really smell that fruitiness. It really does have like a peach scent to it, which is really interesting. So I just need half a cup, and they are pretty strong. I think I'll do one more. Maybe this one, nice color to it. And then my peppers will be all chopped and ready to go, and I can work on that brine. So I did about 3.5 cups of the Hungarian hot wax and 2 cups of jalapenos, and then half a cup of these Sugar Rush peach, and that should hopefully get me these 3 jars full here. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to get onto the brine. But look at this. This is going to be such a beautiful, colorful pickle. I don't know, can you see all the colors in there? It's just beautiful. Such nice peppers. Peppers I grew myself. It's always a good feeling. Oh, the heat off of them as I play with them is hitting me in the throat. All right, I'm going to get this cleaned up. So there's the peppers I have left over after I got those all chopped. Okay, so now that I have the all of the peppers chopped and ready to go, I need to get the brine ready. So I've already chopped up the garlic and put it in here. It called for 3 cloves of crushed garlic, and I had just a really tiny head of garlic, so I just crushed up, I don't know, I think 4 little tiny cloves of garlic. But I just want to do that while I had the knife and the cutting board out, but with my gloves on, because everything would be contaminated with the oils from the peppers. So I just did that real quick. Threw the garlic in here. Now I'm going to add in my 1 cup of water Remember, I'm halving the recipe, so those are 3 cloves of garlic would have been like 1.5 cloves, so that's why I did what I did there. And then for what I'm doing, I need 3 cups of distilled white vinegar. So that's 2. And that's 3. So now I just need to let this come up to a boil over medium-high heat. And then once it's come up to a boil, I'm just supposed to boil it gently. So reduce the heat a little bit and let it boil gently for about 5 minutes. And then we'll carry on with the next step. So now we just need to pack these pickle rings into some sterilized clean jars here. And we're aiming for within about 1/2 inch of the top of the jar. Which I think we should be just about perfect. Look at all those beautiful colors in there. It's so nice. You'll notice I have my glove on for this part as well. You don't want to get those oils on your skin. I'm just going to pack in those last couple bits that are in the bowl here. There, so that's perfect. 3 jars, that's what I wanted. So now we have the brine all infused with the garlic. I'll just remove the garlic. Now, the recipe calls to remove the garlic. I'm sure you could probably leave it in. It would just give your pickles a more garlic flavor. And now we just need to fill the jars with the brine. So we're just looking for that 1/2 inch of head space as we fill the jars. And cover up the peppers. This jar here is just slightly shy of covering the pickles and getting that headspace, so I just have some more vinegar that I'm just going to add in there. Those look so beautiful, colorful. It's nice. Okay, so if you're using the pickle crisp, which of course again is an option, you don't have to use it. It'll just help to keep retain some of that crispness in the peppers. This recipe says to add it at the end here. Most say to add it into the jars at the beginning, but this one doesn't. So I just want to go through, run my little spatula through, make sure there's no bubbles in there in case we need to adjust the head space. And that'll kind of get that pickle crisp mixed in there a bit too if I need to. I don't know if you can see the bubbles coming to the top, so that's what we want. And then we can look and see if we need to adjust our head space again. So this one is a bit low, so we'll just add the other 2 are fine. Use some of that vinegar and just wipe the rims. Make sure there's no brine on there. And then we can put our lids on, make sure that one's seated properly. And just get the band on, just finger tight. Okay, so now that they're on finger tight, we can pop them in the water bath canner. So now that they're all in their jars, we just need to put them into the canner carefully without tipping them, tilting them too much. We just want to bring this water back up to a full boil. And once it's at that full boil, then we'll start our processing time, which for this size of jar is 10 minutes at my altitude. So I'm going to make sure this is right on the burner because I had it pulled forward to get the jars in. And we'll just let it come up to the boil and then I'll start my timer. Once it's done, it's 10 minutes at a full boil. I will turn the heat off, let them sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll bring them out and set them onto a clean towel. It's important that you set them onto a towel or cloth of some sort so that they don't, setting the jars, the hot jars onto the counter can wreck your counter or break your jars. Always set them down. Again, careful not to tilt them when you do that, and just leave them alone for 24 hours to make sure that seal pops and they're sealed properly. While I was waiting for the counter, I made myself a snack. This is some of the most delicious sweet pepper jelly that I made last year from my peppers that I grew. So if you want to know how to make this recipe, see what I do to get this delicious little treat, then stay tuned for a future video. Now I think my 5 minutes are up with the counter sitting waiting, and I can take those jars out. So let's go get that done. So good. Okay, so these processed for the 10 minutes of boiling time, and then they've sat with the lid off for 5 minutes. It's time to take them out. Again, try and lift them straight up and set them on a towel. Look at the color. Can you see that? Look at all the beautiful colors in there. These are going to be gorgeous pickles. Oh, I already heard one pop. I love that sound. It means my processing did its job. Just beautiful. Oh, another one just popped. So that's my 3 jars of pickles, all done up and ready to go. So they just need to sit here for 24 hours to make sure that their seal is good. And then I'll remove the bands and they can go into storage. And they can just be stored in a nice, cool, dry place in the dark. The recipe doesn't say for sure, but I like to leave them for, you know, about a month just to let the flavors all kind of work their magic together, get it all infused into the peppers and give them the best flavor. So let me know in the comments down below if you liked pickled peppers and if you pickle them yourself, and what kind of recipe you like to use. Something basic like this, or do you get a little fancier? So we'll see you down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.